Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 491 based on novel. So let's start. Purple Moon Holy Land would no longer exist in Universe Ocean. The true gods seated down there looked at each other. They all knew it. If the ancestral gods who could talk to the original mind of the original universe said the crisis of the sector beasts had passed, then it was the truth. Luo Feng really might have been the one who was attacking Purple Moon Holy Land. After all, aside from the sector beasts, only Luo Feng was powerful enough to destroy Purple Moon Holy Land. How powerful was Luo Feng? None of the true gods knew exactly, but they all knew he was powerful. They hadn't witnessed how he had killed all those 8 million sector beasts. But they had seen 900,000 sector beasts rush to Universe Ocean and destroy the miniature universes of the first and the second universe eras. At least, the true gods from the two universe eras had seen it. The sector beasts could easily annihilate all the races. However, they had all been destroyed by Luo Feng. If the sector beasts were terrifying to begin with, then what about Luo Feng? The one who had annihilated all the sector beasts. It was terrifying to even think about it, in addition to his other achievements. In the world of Jin, hundreds of universe masters had been killed at the same time. As just a universe master, he had become the most powerful great being in Universe Ocean. Divine Eye True God and others had machine-type valuables, yet they were still no match for Luo Feng. When he became a true god, all the races, including the true gods, saluted him. It all demonstrated the extraordinary power of Milky Way Horde leader. Inside Purple Moon Holy Land. Perhaps Luo Feng wasn't lying. He did kill many sector beasts, but there's a chance that there are some that remain. Purple Moon Ancestor's eyes gleamed, and he yelled. Tell the original universe that there are still some sector beasts. Tell Milky Way Horde leader to come here and kill the sector beasts. Everyone was silent. Many universe masters looked up at Purple Moon Ancestor. Purple Moon Ancestor frowned and yelled, "What's happening?" "Ancestor," yelled a universe master standing down there. A piece of news just arrived from the original universe. Milky Way Horde leader admitted that it's him who's attacking Purple Moon Holy Land. Luo Feng wants to destroy Purple Moon Holy Land. What? Purple Moon Ancestor was shocked. Impossible, he roared in a rage. It can't be Luo Feng. It has to be sector beasts. It's sector beasts that are eating the origin of my miniature universe. Ancestor, the original mind of the original universe, already told the three ancestral gods that the sector beast crisis was already over, cried an elder with 3 heads and 8 arms. That Luo Feng has immense power, and he indeed destroyed all the sector beasts. He's more horrifying than the sector beasts. He must be using some special skills to deal with this holy land. Everyone was crying. They were filled with regret. If the holy land was destroyed, the entire race would go extinct. None of them were afraid of death. However, they would be damned if the entire race was annihilated. But what could they do? Try to stop him? All of them combined were nothing compared to a single strike from Luo Feng. How? How is it possible? Purple Moon Ancestor was horrified. Even the original mind of the original universe admitted it. Luo Feng. He's attacking my miniature universe? He's only a true god. How can he destroy my miniature universe? Purple Moon Ancestor found it hard to believe. Even if Luo Feng was at a supreme level, this was, after all, a miniature universe of true gods of void space. How could it be destroyed? Purple Moon Ancestor had set Luo Feng up without any fear that Luo Feng would take revenge. He hadn't believed Luo Feng could do anything to him. And that was true. Luo Feng, indeed, couldn't do anything about the miniature universes of true gods of void space, but the king of the sector beasts could. The king of the sector beasts was even able to eat the origin of the original universe, not to mention Purple Moon Holy Land. Go meet Luo Feng. These are his coordinates. Purple Moon Ancestor clenched his teeth. Ask him if he will spare the billions of lives from Purple Moon Holy Land. We'll say yes to any conditions he has. Yes, ancestor. More than 10 beings rushed out immediately. Perhaps it was shameful for them to beg for mercy, but temporary shame was still better than the extinction of their races and the loss of all hope. How did I get here? Purple Moon Ancestor raised his head and closed his eyes. 15 great beings flew out to where Purple Moon Ancestor sensed the source of the swallowing. At those coordinates, all 15 great beings instantly teleported and drew close to the coordinates. Endless golden waves permeated. Milky Way Horde Leader, if you're willing to spare all the lives in Purple Moon Holy Land, we'll say yes to any conditions. The 15 great beings flew into the golden waves and moved forward. A wave rushed toward them, and all 15 great beings were instantly annihilated. Deep in the area, Luo Feng and Morosa stood there while Morosa was performing his ability to absorb. Luo Feng sneered. You tried to destroy the human race before. Why didn't you think of the billions of lives of my race? You tried to destroy my race before, so don't blame us for you dying out. Luo Feng didn't even care to negotiate. He killed everyone who approached. Luo Feng wouldn't allow the beings from Purple Moon Holy Land to come here. Otherwise, the great beings from Purple Moon Holy Land would see Morosa. Perhaps they wouldn't have been able to tell that Morosa was a sector beast, but just in case, Luo Feng didn't want the great beings from Purple Moon Holy Land to see Morosa. Luo Feng wouldn't tell anyone from the original universe about the existence of Morosa. After all, it was related to lots of things. There were too many mysteries in Universe Ocean. The body of the godly king of Jin that had flown from the depths of Universe Ocean made Luo Feng realize that there might be some secrets in Universe Ocean that were unknown. When the king of the sector beasts reached the pinnacle level, it had been a catastrophe even in the ancient civilization, and it had been easy for it to destroy Jin country. He couldn't let the news out. As long as he didn't say anything, and Morosa also had the ability to be invisible and formless, nobody would be able to recognize it. It would be his trump card. He needed to hide it well. Ancestor, our bodies were killed the second we rushed into the area of that domain. We couldn't even see Luo Feng's face. The second group. Purple Moon Ancestor clenched his teeth. Another group of great beings went out, but they were also annihilated. Some even sent messages to their friends in the original universe, asking them to send the messages to Luo Feng. But he still refused. Ha ha ha, Purple Moon suddenly guffawed, baffling all the universe masters and true gods seated down there. I can't believe I've been proud for so long, yet I'm being destroyed by this Milky Way Horde leader. Purple Moon Ancestor guffawed. Go, go, he said, waving his hands. Go and meet your friends and families. There's still half a day to go before everything is no more. The universe masters and true gods down below couldn't control their emotions either. There's no eternal glory, and everything has an incarnation. We're dying today, but that Luo Feng will also die someday. We've existed for a long time. That's much better than the races that only lasted for 3 universe eras. I'm satisfied already. The human race will be extinct someday. Some had already been content. Some were swearing at Luo Feng and the humans. More great beings flew out of the palace to take their final action before they died. They went to see their hometowns, to see their disciples, and to await their deaths. Purple Moon Ancestor walked out of the palace, entering the origin of his universe. Inside the origin, he could see every part of Purple Moon Holy Land. It's all over, whispered Purple Moon Ancestor. My race will go extinct as well. However, I won't admit defeat. I'll never admit defeat. As Luo Feng watched, that giant universe started to crack and crumble. It was crumbling very quickly compared to when Huge Axe had been killed. When Huge Axe was killed, the origin of his miniature universe was still intact, so it would only collapse slowly. However, for a miniature universe whose origin was swallowed, the membrane would disintegrate and fade away soon. It's coming. The 5 pairs of wings on Luo Feng's back were shaking, and a trace of light was flying toward him from the broken Purple Moon Holy Land. Luo Feng kept teleporting and getting closer. The final pair of wings. The other 5 pairs of wings also flew out, combining with the pair of silver wings flying toward him. Chaotic golden wings. Luo Feng looked at the 6 pairs of gleaming wings floating in the sky and couldn't help smiling. It was the complete set of chaotic golden wings. Even though he was already at a superior level, having reached the level of a top-tier true god of void space, he still wasn't qualified to use the 5th level of Shawu Wing. The 5th level was driven by eternal true gods. Knowing that, and given the fact that it would take an ordinary sector beast 100,000 years to swallow Purple Moon Holy Land, Luo Feng had waited until this moment to tackle Purple Moon Holy Land. Ha ha! Luo Feng had his 6 pairs of wings wide open. They are complete now. However, there's still some damage inside the 5th pair of wings. The other 5 pairs of wings making up his Shawu wings had already been repaired by the energies in the origin. The last pair of wings weren't repaired yet. If I can burn my godly power to the limit, then I can repair it. Luo Feng gave it a try. However, it's going to take a very long time. If I were an eternal true god, I would be able to repair it instantly. No need to rush. I have all the time in the world. Luo Feng teleported and flew toward the broken Purple Moon Holy Land. It was a holy land, after all, and there could be some remains from the 3 lands of Extremis. Luo Feng searched everywhere, and he gained quite a bit. Huh? Luo Feng stood in the space, and there were space fragments and broken lands everywhere. He stood at the point where the origin of the Holy Land used to be. Luo Feng frowned and looked around. The Holy Land is broken, but where is Purple Moon Ancestor? The miniature universe was broken, but that only meant the Great Being couldn't be improved anymore. It didn't kill the Great Being. Purple Moon Ancestor could still be alive. Purple Moon Ancestor and East Emperor Ancestor are the only ones who could put up with the sector beasts and not do anything about it, Luo Feng thought. Even if he wanted to kill me. Even if hundreds of universe masters were killed, Purple Moon Ancestor has never stepped out of the Holy Land, and I still can't see him even after the Holy Land has been destroyed. Does that mean he isn't in his Holy Land? Whispered Luo Feng. Could it be that only his godly power avatar was in the Holy Land? Then Luo Feng turned his head, and he looked at the end of the chaos air. That was where the giant object that might be Godly King of Jin was flying. Are there other secrets in the depths of Universe Ocean? Wondered Luo Feng. The secrets of the ancient civilization. And Purple Moon Ancestor is also there. Luo Feng looked into the distance within the silent, chaotic airflow. He had long had his doubts that Purple Moon Ancestor would be within this miniature universe. Otherwise, he would have made his way out upon being forced to a corner. Of course, there also could have been a unique situation, such as Purple Moon Ancestor being confined within the miniature universe and thus unable to leave it. If that was the case, then Luo Feng destroying the miniature universe was the same as releasing Purple Moon Ancestor. But in light of this possibility, Luo Feng had prepared well ahead of time. Without even mentioning the fact that Morosa was the king of sector beasts, its power matched the level of a true god of void space. And like a true god of void space that could sweep away everything. At the very least, Purple Moon Ancestor would not be able to block its attacks. As for Luo Feng, he could execute linear element technique, which was even more superior than divine eye technique. Linear element technique was a supreme willpower technique that even godly kings would go crazy over. Even an opponent that was a worthy match for that willpower, if pitted against another being who possessed linear element technique, would have great influence exerted over it. Its opponent might even be able to cause it to fall directly into a state of unconsciousness. Luo Feng's willpower had become holy. In other words, for any being whose willpower had yet to become holy, the moment it was hit by Luo Feng's willpower, the impact would bring it down without fail. East Emperor Ancestor and Purple Moon Ancestor's miniature universes. Back then, Morosa had tried to devour their miniature universes so it could verify that East Emperor Ancestor's willpower was stronger and Purple Moon Ancestor's willpower was weaker. Among the true gods of void space, there are quite a few whose willpower has attained the level of an eternal true god. But for them to achieve the level where their willpower becomes holy, that is almost impossible. Luo Feng shook his head. Purple Moon is weaker than East Emperor, making it all the more impossible for his willpower to become holy. Regardless of East Emperor or Purple Moon, they both have already transcended reincarnation, Luo Feng said to himself, so they possess eternal life. So, where are they? The universe ocean was just too mysterious. Take the world of Jin, for example, it had some eternal true god existences like the 4 major generals. These allowed Luo Feng to understand that he was not invincible. This was the reason why Luo Feng had to carefully hide this king of the sector beast. It was his trump card. Luo Feng took Morosa with him and made his way back to the primal universe. Leaving Morosa behind in his miniature universe, Luo Feng headed back to the primal universe in his original body to the void space of Milky Way Holy Land. Let's go. We shall make our way to the ancestral god school, said Primal Chaos City leader. He was extremely excited. Luo Feng had just returned from Universe Ocean, and Primal Chaos City leader was already rushing Luo Feng off to the ancestral god school, prepared to demand Teacher Origin's release. He had waited far too long for this day to arrive. Luo Feng also smiled in response. Teacher and disciple traveled alongside one another. Very quickly, they arrived at the ancestral god palace of the ancestral god secret region. Stepping into the ancestral god palace, they saw 3 ancestral gods seated in the hall. The 3 of you, Primal Chaos City leader said pointedly. I think our purpose in coming here is clear to you all. The sector beast crisis is over. Shouldn't the willpower of the Origin keep the promise it previously made and release our Teacher Origin? The 3 ancestral gods looked down at them. Then one of them, the old ancestral god, spoke up. Primal Chaos City leader, worry not. Since the willpower of the Origin has given its word, it will fulfill what it has promised. Previously, the willpower of the Origin already informed us, the young ancestral god added. This time around, Luo Feng settled the sector beast crisis, thus making a great contribution. Most certainly, this is enough reason to release Teacher Origin. I believe that by now, the willpower of the Origin should already be starting to release Teacher Origin. Wait a little while longer. Teacher Origin should appear here in this ancestral god palace. Already starting to release him? Primal Chaos City leader was excited. Luo Feng was also filled with anticipation. While he had never received guidance from nor been taught by Teacher Origin, it was a fact that Teacher Origin had immense influence over the human race. To put it one way, Teacher Origin had been the leader during the rising of the humans. Huge Axe and Primal Chaos City leader were the guardians maintaining the achievements and prosperity of the humans. Luo Feng, meanwhile, was the pioneer bringing about the glory of the humans. Just wait a little while longer, said the double-faced ancestral god. Primal Chaos City leader and Luo Feng stood in the hall and waited quietly. Time passed slowly. Suddenly, a powerful ripple filled the hall, and in the space in the middle of the hall, a contorted wormhole appeared. A blurred figure emerged from the wormhole and instantly appeared within the big hall. Witnessing this scene made Primal Chaos City leader tremble all over. His eyes were filled with excitement. The figure came into view. It was a man garbed in a white robe. In the spot where he had arrived, it was as though all of time and space were subdued by his influence. Everything became peaceful and quiet. Teacher. Primal Chaos City leader made his way over via teleportation. Appearing before the man in the white robe, he immediately dropped down on his knees, tears streaming down his cheeks. It had been so long. How long had he waited? To him, Teacher Origin was his teacher. He was his father. To safeguard all that Teacher Origin had created, he, Primal Chaos City leader, had worked conscientiously and with great diligence. Never for a moment had he gone easy on himself, as he had focused on managing and taking care of the entire human race. Throughout countless years, he had earned himself the good reputation of being just and impartial, and he was known for his selflessness in giving his all for the race. Even when it came to accepting and cultivating his disciples, he did everything with the goal of strengthening the human race. This was why the various great beings of the human race were always filled with respect and admiration for Primal Chaos City leader. They never would have imagined that all Primal Chaos City leader wanted was to safeguard everything that Teacher Origin had left behind. He did not want to witness the fall of the humans. "Don't be such a baby," said Teacher Origin, laughing as he helped Primal Chaos City Leader to his feet. Primal Chaos City Leader obligingly stood up. Teacher Origin looked at Primal Chaos City Leader. Then, with a sigh, he lamented, "What a pity that huge axe is no longer with us." There was sorrow in Primal Chaos City Leader's eyes as he recounted, "Huge axe was killed by a sector beast." Fortunately, Luo Feng finally managed to settle the sector beast crisis. He also managed to retrieve Huge Axe's supreme treasure, the godly axe, and he has brought it back. Upon returning, Luo Feng had made it a point to bring the godly axe with him. When the higher-ups of the human race learned of this news, they had all gasped in awe. "If he could have lived to see this, he'd have been very happy," Teacher Origin said. "This child has always been reckless and loved adventures. I have warned him umpteen times. If only he had half your calmness, then he would not have." Let's not talk about it. Let's drop the subject." To have the guts to call Huge Axe a child, no one other than Teacher Origin would have dared to make such a statement. Huge Axe had been the very first to follow Teacher Origin. After that, Teacher Origin had officially accepted Primal Chaos City Leader as his first disciple. The three had spent a lot of time together. Primal Chaos City Leader was like the younger brother, Huge Axe was like the older brother, and Teacher Origin was like a father to them both. Congratulations, Teacher Origin. You finally got your freedom back. The three ancestral gods walked over. They were also filled with admiration for Teacher Origin, one of the earliest beings throughout the entire primal universe, who was so extraordinary that he was one of a kind. Then, the three looked into the distance at the other figure in a white robe. Luo Feng. White-robed Teacher Origin and white-robed Luo Feng. They were two incomparably dazzling beings from the human race, one from the early period and one from the middle period. They had completely different styles. Teacher Origin was calmer and more laid back. In his presence, other great beings would feel as though they were basking in a spring breeze. On the other hand, Luo Feng was like a blade cutting through the sky. Although he was courteous to others, he was always so sharp, always taking everything upon himself, always sporting absolute determination that made him adhere to all his intentions, so that his presence alone sent shudders through any other great being. "Thanks." Teacher Origin took one look at the three ancestral gods and smiled as he nodded. Primal Chaos City Leader, Luo Feng. Teacher Origin took one long look at Luo Feng. "Let's go." Luo Feng nodded. He could sense that Teacher Origin had quite a lot to say to him. It was just that they were within Ancestral God Palace, which was not a good place for deeper conversations. "Let's go." Luo Feng nodded. Right away, the three vanished into thin air. The three ancestral gods watched the three pinnacle beings of the human race leaving and looked at one another. The double-faced ancestral god could not resist a sigh. With the return of Teacher Origin, the human race now has Teacher Origin and Luo Feng. They will glow even more brilliantly and gloriously. Teacher Origin had provoked the willpower of the Origin into suppressing him, the old ancestral god said. But Luo Feng, even the willpower of the Origin dared not provoke him. He is even more terrifying. The two of them are now reunited with the human race. The human race. How formidable they are going to be in the future. In terms of ability, either one of them could easily attain the level of void space, the young ancestral god commented. Within our universe ocean, I think we can most likely expect to see two more Holy Land universes emerging. Everyone knew it. The moment Luo Feng settled the Sector Beast crisis, there were no longer any foes from the outside. The human race could certainly expect a long period of prosperity. For the countless billions of eras that followed, the human race would surely do its best to cultivate their later generations to allow their race to become stronger. The return of Teacher Origin was like adding wings to a tiger. The human race would get even mightier and more powerful. When the humans got stronger, the other races would look up to them. No one would dare harbor thoughts of enmity toward the humans thereafter. Within the human territory, on one of the corridors of Milky Way Holy Land, Teacher Origin, Primal Chaos City Leader, and Luo Feng looked around as they strolled. Look at the doors of those universe passageways, Teacher Origin lamented through a smile. The entire primal universe. There are universe passageways of true gods from every other race to be found here. Ha ha ha. Back then, I would never have imagined that such a scene was possible. Luo Feng. Teacher Origin turned to look at Luo Feng at his side. I have been suppressed for so long. Now, you have appeared. For a long time, I have been watching you. At first, it only seemed to me that a new true god had been born to my human race. I would never have expected you to make it this far, even to the extent of releasing me from eternal suppression. This kindness you have bestowed upon me, there is no way I can ever repay you enough. Please, accept a bow from me. Luo Feng immediately reached out to stop him. This will not do, he said. Strictly speaking, Teacher Origin was his teacher's ancestor. Well, you have shown me extreme kindness, and that is a fact. Teacher Origin, with Luo Feng holding onto him, was unable to complete his bow. He could only manage a half bow. You need not be mindful of anyone else. Teacher, that is just the kind of person you are. Primal Chaos City leader sighed helplessly. Taking note of the situation, Luo Feng immediately changed the topic. Right. Teacher Origin. I have always wanted to ask, what did you do back then to make the willpower of the Origin so upset that it had to keep you suppressed? Earlier, when I first requested your release, the willpower of the Origin actually transmitted a message saying that it was limited by the supreme law, so there was simply no way it could let you out. Only after the Sector Beast crisis was over would it release you. Yes, Teacher, Primal Chaos City leader added. Teacher, when you previously brought up the matter, you only touched on it briefly. What is it all about? Primal Chaos City leader only knew that Teacher Origin and the willpower of the Origin were enemies and that they were going to battle soon. As for the most fundamental reason, he knew nothing at all. There is no rush. Teacher Origin shook his head with a smile. Luo Feng, I heard you destroyed Purple Moon Holy Land Universe. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. With this news already out into the open, Teacher Origin, who had everything within the virtual universe under his control, would definitely know about it. Then I would like to ask, after destroying Purple Moon Holy Land Universe, what about Purple Moon Ancestor? There was a glimmer of anticipation in Teacher Origin's eyes. Where is he? He has transcended reincarnation, so he has eternal life. The moment his miniature universe is destroyed, all the races, universe masters, and true gods that resided in it would die along with it, but Purple Moon Ancestor could still be alive. Have you seen him? Luo Feng shook his head. No, I have not seen him. No? Teacher Origin was taken aback. Could it be? Could it have just been a godly-powered avatar? Teacher Origin stood in one spot, dazed. Could it be? Could it be? If I had known earlier. If I had known earlier, I would not have even considered walking down this path. Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader looked at one another. What was wrong? Teacher Origin looked conflicted. You want to know the reasons why I was suppressed? Both Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader listened carefully. When I first rose before, said Teacher Origin slowly, no one from the first or second universe eras was my match. I roamed Universe Ocean and had no rival. However, I was wary of the two Holy Lands. Although I was invincible, I wasn't confident to say that I could match the two ancestors of the two Holy Lands. I've been wondering why the ancestors of the two Holy Lands never came out. Even if they have transcended incarnations and are indeed unrivaled, they wouldn't just confine themselves to the Holy Lands forever. Unless they couldn't get out. I have speculated that transcending incarnations is a conspiracy. A conspiracy? Both Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader were startled. I speculated before that this was the conspiracy of the original universe, said Teacher Origin. However, after being suppressed, I came across the supreme laws, and that was when I realized that I was wrong. Dead wrong. Supreme laws are what control all the operations in Universe Ocean. The original mind only controls everything in the original universe. it can't force anyone to transcend incarnations, as it doesn't have the authority to do so. Primal Chaos City leader frowned. But, teacher, once someone reaches the void space level, they must transcend incarnations within a very short period of time. Yes, said Teacher Origin. That's the restriction of supreme laws. Only supreme laws can give orders to true gods and above. I've been suppressed for a long time, and now, I finally understand it. The original mind is unable to force anyone to go anywhere. Otherwise, it could have forced Yuan Ao Master, Jinjiao Emperor, and the others to go somewhere in the lands of extremists instead of going through so much. Luo Feng nodded. He had talked with Teacher Sitting Mountain Guest before, and he knew that there was no need to be afraid of the original mind, as it couldn't do anything to true gods, as long as they didn't break any supreme laws. The reason why I was suppressed, said Teacher Origin, is that I disobeyed the supreme laws, and the original mind suppressed me. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to do so. How did you disobey them? Both Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader were curious. Teacher Origin smiled. I was careful of the original mind before, and I suspected that the original mind was behind it all. I tried everything to search for it, but the deeper that I dug, the more I realized that the original mind isn't wise, it only has some basic wisdom. It must be a very weak mind bred by the origin of the original universe. Weak? Both Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader were shocked. Yes. Teacher Origin nodded. The original mind itself is fragile. It only has endless power because of the origin of the original universe. I didn't want to transcend incarnations before because I was afraid I would be bound forever. I came up with a plan. I would destroy the original mind so that my own mind could become the original mind of the original universe. What? Both Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader were shocked. Soul transfer? Was he talking about soul transfer? Luo Feng had speculated from past experiences that the original mind itself didn't have any power. That was why it had needed others to kill Yuan Ao Master. It also relied on the ancestral god school to do much of its bidding. In fact, Luo Feng had also considered the possibility of seizing control of the authority of the original universe. But it was only a thought. After all, Luo Feng couldn't think of any viable methods for doing so. That's why I created the virtual universe, Teacher Origin said with a smile. My virtual universe and the real universe are like two sides of the same body. They perfectly match each other. I myself am a life form in the original universe, so the original universe doesn't resist me. When my mind is spread everywhere in the original universe with the help of the virtual universe, it starts to clash with the original mind. Both Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader were stunned. The virtual universe had been created to rob the soul of the original universe. But I was wrong. Teacher Origin sighed. I was too naive. I speculated based on my own estimation, but I was dead wrong. I wanted to seize control of the original universe, which goes against the supreme laws. That was why the supreme laws punished me. I lost, and that's why I was suppressed. The supreme laws punished me. That's how I encountered more supreme laws and why I understand more about them. Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City leader went quiet. Teacher Origin was really in opposition against the original mind, and he suspected that the original mind was the ultimate conspirer behind everything. He had seen through the weaknesses of the original mind. He had then created the virtual universe in order to seize control over the original universe. And he had almost succeeded. No wonder the original mind wasn't willing to let Teacher Origin go. Primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. It had to wait until Luo Feng solved the crisis of the sector beasts to release Teacher Origin. Luo Feng was thinking. The sector beasts represented destruction while the original universe represented life, and they were completely opposite to each other. Each side would be treated fairly by the supreme laws, no matter which side won. Apparently, the supreme laws were unbiased between the two sides. If the sector beasts won, they would destroy everything. If the original universe won, Luo Feng, as the greatest contributor, would be rewarded as well. But it's unfair, Luo Feng thought. The king of the sector beasts is at void space level, yet nobody forces it to transcend incarnations. However, we have to transcend incarnations after becoming true gods of void space. That's right. The king of sector beasts represents the opposite force to the original universe, and they are at the most supreme level. We, as life forms bred in the original universe, are inferior, and we're subject to more restrictions. The top beings in Universe Ocean were the original universe and the king of the sector beasts. As for the life forms bred by the original universe, even Luo Feng, whose life gene level had reached 100,000 times, who'd had all the life forms salute him, they were all inferior to the original universe and the king of the sector beasts. This made Luo Feng very pleased, as he had successfully enslaved the king of the sector beasts. After the crisis of the sector beasts, Universe Ocean was peaceful again. All the miniature universes of the First Universe Era and Second Universe Era had been destroyed. Skeleton Master had turned to the side of the sector beasts, but his miniature universe was still there, as Morosa was still alive. So as not to let anyone else know about the king of the sector beasts, Morosa killed Skeleton Master with one thought right after becoming king, and his miniature universe was destroyed as well. Time went by quickly, and tens of thousands of eras passed. The membrane of the world of Jin will turn white every era. A new universe master of the demon race, Renyu Master, drove a palace and flew toward the world of Jin. It usually took a long time for a great being to go to the world of Jin. Huh? Renyu Master looked at the surrounding space in shock. Am I lost? Renyu Master speculated that he had come to the wrong place, but after checking the map of Universe Ocean and his coordinates. This was where the world of Jin used to be before, said Renyu Master. That giant object disappeared? The whole world of Jin disappeared? Renyu Master was stupefied. The news spread across the original universe like wildfire. All the great beings quickly learned that the world of Jin had disappeared. After only half a day, Luo Feng arrived at where world of Jin had been. Where is it? Luo Feng, with his silver wings, stood in the chaos air. He was looking off into the distance. A long time ago, the giant body, which had seemed to belong to the godly king of Jin, had been right there. Luo Feng started to teleport and search. It wasn't just Luo Feng. Great beings of other races were also searching. However, they couldn't find the world of Jin no matter how hard they tried. Apparently, during the past tens of thousands of eras, the world of Jin had left without notifying anyone. Nobody had found out because no great beings had been there in such a long time, not until Renyu Master decided to go there to train. My godly powered avatar is still inside the world of Jin, Luo Feng was thinking, frowning as he stood there in space. Deep in Universe Ocean, an enormous object flew at high speed. Inside its body, inside the world of Jin, on an island of the Python River Army of the East Army, Luo Feng's godly power avatar was staying there. An era before, after his original body learned that the world of Jin had disappeared, that godly powered avatar had learned that he was no longer in the same region of Universe Ocean. Instead, it had traveled to a strange place. Where am I in the world of Jin? After an era, the universe membrane finally turned white. Driving a spaceship, Luo Feng's godly powered avatar rushed out of the universe membrane. He was very curious about this deeper area of Universe Ocean. He wanted to get out of the world of Jin and away from the giant object to see where he was. He rushed out of the miniature universe of the world of Jin. This is, Luo Feng's godly power avatar was looking around outside in the spaceship. Endless flames swept across him. The true god-level spaceship was immediately annihilated, and so was Luo Feng's godly powered avatar. Inside Milky Way holy land of the original universe, Luo Feng was admonishing his son Luo Hai. I've told you before that I can't help you, he said. If you don't go comprehend by yourself, nobody can help you. You're indeed less talented, but there's nothing absolute in Universe Ocean. Everything has a chance. Huh? Father, asked Luo Hai. Frowning, Luo Feng looked out into space, as if he could see through all that distance. He whispered, immediately annihilated? Fortunately, I converted almost all my military credits into valuables while fighting the sector beasts last time. Though he had no idea where the world of Jin was, it was apparently still safe and sound. And all the creatures living inside the world of Jin were still safe and alive. To deal with the crisis of the sector beasts, world of Jin came, Luo Feng thought. The world of Jin. The origin. These two are how the original universe survived. Now, the crisis of sector beasts is over, so the world of Jin left silently. Luo Feng could understand why. The ancient civilization had lived in the world of Jin, after all, and those who lived there were descendants of the ancient civilization. If world of Jin remained here, the life forms from later universe eras would easily gain the inheritance from the ancient civilization. But apparently, nothing like that would now happen. When will I see the world of Jin again? Luo Feng wondered. This video will end here.